You want cutting an apple or something?
Somebody needs to mute. Somebody needs to mute.
Oh, I think it's me, sorry.
I will take a chance to be who I'm meant to be. I won't let fear keep me from trying. It's time for me to make a change, to start living the life I want. I'm gonna reach for the sky, way up high. I'm never giving up. It's up to me to see who I can be, make dreams reality. I'm never giving up. I'm never giving up. I'm never giving up. I'm never giving up. I won't live the life others expect of me. I want to be proud of who I'm becoming. It's time for me to make a change, start living the life I want. I'm gonna reach for the sky, way up high. I'm never giving up. It's up to me to see who I can be, make dreams reality. I'm never giving up. I'm never giving up. I'm never giving up. I'm never giving up. Step by step, I will make my own way. Even when others don't believe me, brick by brick, I will build my destiny. I can't wait to see who I've become. I'm gonna reach for the sky, way up high. I'm never giving up.
All right. Welcome, everybody. That was beautiful. I'm glad we got to see it twice. What is the name of that song, Laura?
Never give up.
Never Give Up. I'm going to have Laura, when we post this to YouTube and put the link on the LDS Facebook group, we'll have Laura put the song in the comments because it's a beautiful song. I'd never heard it before until she sent it to me. But anyway, I want to welcome everybody here tonight. This is our, I don't know how many side-by-side Sundays we've done, but I'm excited for tonight. I'm Wendy Reynolds, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Lora tonight. And she's a sweet friend, and I can't wait for you guys to get to know her and hear her story. So a little bit of housekeeping. We are recording this tonight. It will be going out on YouTube. So if you don't want anyone to see your little faces, you could turn your camera off. This will go for about 45 to 50 minutes. And then the last 10 minutes, we would love for you to raise your hand or unmute and ask Lora if you have any questions. You might want to make note of those. And Laura and I have known each other for about 2.5 years, and we are on the same Gideon Games team. Hi, Laura. We've been on the same Gideon Games team for the 2.5 years. So I was really excited that she agreed to have me interview her tonight and share her story with you. So she is so inspiring, and she's so close to the Spirit. And I think you'll be able to feel that from Laura. So welcome, Laura, from Alpine or Highland? Highland, Utah. And are your houses sliding off the hills like I saw in Draper, Utah?
I was scared. No, we're on a firm foundation here.
Oh, good. Okay, just got to get that out of the way. Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead, and Laura and I have talked a couple times before tonight, a couple times, we've talked a lot, but I asked her first if she would go ahead and tell us a little bit about her family and her growing up and her family now. So take it away, Laura.
First, thanks for the opportunity to do this. It's been such an amazing adventure to go through the whole journey, because I think I have forgotten so much of the beginning, and you get stuck on like 10 pounds or something and you forget all of that work that you started with. So that makes me cry, that video. So thank you for doing that. Um, let's see, I grew up in California in the Bay Area, and I have 4 brothers and a sister. So there's a girl, 2 boys, and then a girl, 2 boys. Let's see, my sister was always extremely thin. I mean, she was a model and beautiful. And my brothers, you know, they would have the signs on their doors like no fat chicks. And I was never called fat or anything, but I think a part of me decided that I was. And so I have always felt overweight and never felt good or pretty or, you know, any of that. And that's something I created myself, I think, not from family putting me down or anything, but just something I created in my head. I have 5 children. My oldest is in Brigham City, and she has the little Charlie, little 3-year-old Charlie. And then I have a son in Tennessee, and he's married, and he has a little boy, Jax. My daughter is, she is at Utah State. And then my son is in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, serving a mission. And then my 16-year-old is home with me, home with us. So
Cool. All right, so you look so beautiful tonight, but I have a feeling that you probably had weight issues and food issues like all of us here in this Zoom room. So take us back to when, I don't know, when you realized you were having issues with weight and food, and some of the things that you tried to fix that.
you know, seems like for forever, I've always wanted to lose weight and wanted to be thinner. I always had really thin friends, and but it wasn't until let's see, in college, then I started to really notice that and really try to cut back on food and, you know, not eat this food, or you find the next new diet or whatever. And then I'd always go back to whatever I was eating. And then after we were married, after I had my kids, I just really, I struggle with depression. And so I think with that depression, I ate a lot of sugar to increase the dopamine, which I didn't realize until learning that from Susan's, one of her blogs. But so I ate the sugar to create some calmness in me, and any kind of stress or anything, I would eat sugar, lots of sugar. And then it came to a point where I wasn't really eating meals. It was just kind of like the next fix, you know, just eating the next thing. So, and then, gosh, my mom was really, she was trying to lose weight too. And she was always into the next diet book. And so she'd always mail it to me. So I would just get one in the mail, a new diet book that she was trying. And she spent a ton of time just prepping like the diet. I don't know if you guys know that, but you get all the recipes, you do a chart, this is what I'm supposed to eat, you do a menu, but then never actually doing it more than a couple of weeks. So
It's
anyway,
kind of tricky sometimes, isn't it? You think you're doing something when you're doing all the charts and the books and the plans,
exactly
calorie counting. You think you're actually being bright, but you're not.
And then the crazy thing is whenever I start a new diet, you know, I think, oh, I better eat everything that I'm not going to be able to eat. So, you know, then it doesn't make any sense, but I would binge on stuff because I'm like, well, tomorrow's the day. So anyway, she sent me the book, but I looked at that and I said, this is another one of her crazy things. I'm not doing this. And she'd show me her charts and how great it was. And anyway, she never really did it. And then I had a friend in my ward that was I don't know, she was really into weightlifting, and she'd help people with their exercise program. And so she said she had this great doctor, but I don't really know if he was a doctor, but what he was, but went to go see him. And then they had all the powders that it was very expensive, all the protein because they're pure, and all the vitamins because this was going to help you lose weight. And then he put me on metformin, which I do not have diabetes. And I wasn't familiar with metformin at all. But he said, this is just the best drug ever. There's no side effects. It's just like taking a vitamin. You will lose the weight on this. And so I did it. I lost some desire for sugar, but the thing with when you use metformin for that, you have to increase the metformin to continue to have that not want the sugar. So I don't know, I just never felt good about being on a drug. I just wanted to do it. I wanted to do it with real food. So then I was just pleading with the Lord and asking him to help me with this. And I would never have said I had an addiction. It was always trying to lose weight. That's been something that I've learned in Bright Line Eating. So I was on Facebook and I saw the unofficial Gideon Games. And so I decided that I would do that, which is very unlikely. That's not my thing, is to click. I don't do a lot of online stuff anyway. So I never would have clicked into that. And so I did. And I was like, oh my gosh, but I felt inspired to do this program, but I thought it was for 2 weeks. And I thought I can totally do it for 2 weeks. Then I realized it was for 6 weeks. And I was like, oh my goodness, how to get myself into this? And it was stressing me, but I didn't want to let this team down. And so I stayed on it. And
did you sign up for something, a team? What did you sign
yeah,
up?
it was an unofficial Gideon Games team. So it was just something, I think Beth Monroe, I think she was maybe in charge of that.
Probably.
And then, gosh, I felt so good being on it, and it was just wonderful. So then I did I did another 6 weeks. I signed up again. And then after that, Beth came to me and she said, Laura, you should be a leader. And I'm like, oh gosh, no. And she just believed in me and just built me up. And she is an amazing woman and helped me to show some leadership and get into the program. And then I had my own Gideon Games ladies and building and strengthening them. And then I didn't want to go off because I didn't want to let them down. So anyway, so then it went for that. So I never officially was, paid for any of the programs or anything, but I just had read the book. And I think it's because I had tried so many things. I just didn't think I was worth spending the money on me because I was going to fail anyway. So that's why I didn't do it. Cause I'm like, I'm just going to fail anyway. I can't spend any more money on diets. And I just spent all this money on this metformin and the vitamins and the protein powder that was so pure and all this. So
Laura, can I ask you, can we back up a bit? I'm kind of curious, had you gained the weight back? Were you at your top weight when you looked into Bright Line Eating or saw something online?
Mm-hmm.
So then back me up to before Bright Line Eating. Okay. So now you've tried these other things and you've gained your weight back. So can you talk to us a little bit about how being 280 pounds was affecting your life as a mother and
210.
Oh, you lost 80, sorry, 210. I'm giving you 70 more pounds. Yeah, talk about how the weight affected your life before you got to Bright Line Eating.
I was, the depression got really bad. I was isolating, I was wearing hot clothes in the summer because I was just trying to hide. I didn't want to go to my kids' activities. So just really isolating from everyone and everything and just pleading with the Lord this whole time, thinking, Heavenly Father, I need your help. I can't do this alone, but I don't know how to do it. And so I think the depression got really bad just because I think when you have depression and you don't feel good, then you stop associating with people or you don't want to go out and you stay in the house and then you're not eating good. I mean, it's just kind of this ripple effect. So
Did it affect you? Did your weight affect you in any physical ways? Did you have like high cholesterol, or did your heart beat fast, or like did you
yeah, I
have any?
had really bad high cholesterol, and then I had a really hard time breathing. So like just like leaning over and tying my shoes or any of that was just put so much pressure on my stomach. My husband would love going on bike rides, like my knees are hitting my stomach. That was, it's like embarrassing. And having to wear like the men's shorts, biker shorts, because the women's weren't going to fit me. And then there was a time on 4th of July that we went on this hike and went up the hike, and I was so out of breath. Like it felt like my chest was just like my heart was going to go out of my chest, and I had to sit down and I said, just leave me here. Just take the kids up. Just leave me here. And he's like, I'm not leaving you here. Like, so we'd go a little way, and it was the scary thing not to be able to breathe. And um, that was really scary. I thought I have got to do something. This is now affecting the time with my family. And I was also really tired all the time. I'd want to sleep. And part of that I think is depression. Other is, when you eat a lot of sugar on the down points, you're tired. So
What about, we didn't talk about this at all, but I kind of wonder, um, do you consider yourself a food addict?
yes.
Okay. And what
But
are you on this? What are you on the susceptibility?
I'm off the charts, 10 plus plus.
Okay. Okay.
But I never would have said I was before starting Bright Line Eating.
So they introduced you to this lovely term and how did it, so when you're at your top weight before Bright Line Eating, how did it affect you spiritually? You're one of the most spiritual people and in tune with the spirit that I know. Did it affect you? We didn't talk about this at all, but I'm kind of curious if not everybody feels that kind of grayness come over.
Yeah. I felt like I'd really, this makes me cry. I just feel like I'd really disappointed the Lord. Like, I'm like, I can't even get control of this body. Like, you've sent me down to earth, and I can't even like stop eating junk food for like a day. Like, so I felt like I wasn't like worthy. And so I spent a lot of time trying to do it myself. And I thought, I'm not worthy of his love. Sorry. So I want to do it all on my own and then come to him for help. So
Yeah.
Yeah, spiritually really, really struggled.
Thank you. So now you're in Bright Line Eating. At what point did you subscribe then and become a subscribed member to be able to start taking the boot camp and the courses?
I didn't do it until Susan did that big push for the 400 or 400 a month. Was that right? 395, whatever. And because I wanted to be on this official Getting Games, and I just heard so many people talk about this, and I thought, this is for life. This isn't just something I'm going to do, and this is going to help me. And gratefully, I have a husband who is, whatever you need, that's what we're going to do to help you. I'll support you in any way. So
okay, so you came in with the big golden ticket.
Yes, exactly.
So would you share with us kind of what a typical day is? So you've lost 85 pounds, and I know you're bright and you're beautiful and you're shining right now. So what does a typical day or week look like for you in recovery?
My habit stacks are a huge part of my day. So, and this is on, I know we call ourselves women of, what is it? Leisure. So I have more time because, I just have the 16-year-old at home, but I'm able to, get up and pray and then read my scriptures. And I like to do something spiritual, whether it be a conference talk or something out of the, let's say the Insight, the Leahona. So something's a message from the church or from one of our apostles or prophet. And then I do my, I do my grateful journal and my gratitude journal. Um,
You
or
mean your
grateful
5-year
and then
journal?
my food journal. And I used to in the food journal just, it was kind of negative. Oh, I can't believe I did that. And now I try to make it a process, like something that I learned and how I've grown. And so it's something more positive than, gosh, the scale hasn't moved, or I'm so frustrated with that. Or instead of looking at the negative, what I haven't done, I'll write down the things that I did good that day instead of, because there's always something good,
Yeah.
you know. So
Do you, what
um,
is, as far as your food prep, do you prep for a week or a day or the night before? What do you typically do?
I prep for a day. Sorry, I prep one day, but I prep it for the whole week. So even like my breakfast, like for my oatmeal, I'll mix my like chia seeds in there with cinnamon and spices. And so all I have to do is just dump it in and then add the fruit. So, and then my lunch and dinners are all in the fridge for a week.
Sorry, let me let someone in. So I know you as somebody that's all in. So I want you to explain to everybody else what keeps you bright. What is kind of what's underneath that foundation that keeps you bright and in your right size body.
So I think one of them is I want to be an example to my kids of eating healthy. Um, I want to. Oh, the other thing is, I just again with this spiritual part, I feel like I've been given this body and I want to take care of it. I feel like it's a gift, and so I want to take care of it. And when I start on the sugar, I'm not as kind. I'm tired. um I have these food thoughts, like I can't serve and do the things that my Heavenly Father wants me to do when I'm so full of food thoughts. So
Can you talk to us a little bit about, you told me about, was it a talk that you saw recently about fence laws? Do you want to
oh
explain
yeah,
that?
um that was oh my gosh, I forgot his name now.
John Hilton.
Oh yeah, John Hilton the third. He talked about fence laws in a spiritual sense, but they're things that you do so that you don't break a commandment. So like maybe like not dating alone or dressing modestly or not going to bars or those things. Those things aren't breaking a commandment, but they prevent us from breaking a commandment. And so I moved that um, to Bright Line Eating, where I set up fence laws, and there's certain foods that are Bright Line approved, but they're triggering for me, so I just don't eat them. So nuts are a fence law. I can eat nuts on the program, so it wouldn't be like breaking a commandment, but it leads me to other things. So my habit stacks are a fence law that's so important for me to stay focused on those and do those. So um, those are super important. So those will break before the food breaks. So those are kind of my um, notice to yourself you're not strong, or you need to get back to doing these things, so it never reaches the food. So
Right. Just you
staying
just get a little weak on the sides and
yes, exactly.
fasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So clarify in the little slideshow that we saw, you said you do a scoop of Bright Line Eating every day. So what is that? Do you read? Do you take courses, or how does that fit into your program?
So I love the accountability calls. So this was my thought. I spend all this money, and I'm going to learn from it. I want to like absorb this, and I think I have to stay in, like Susan says, close to the mothership. So I am always learning something from those accountability calls, and then in one of my mastermind groups, we did the um, let's see, the maintenance course. We did
Great.
the maintenance course together. So that, and grit, and we did grit together, which I really enjoyed. And it's fun to do it with a group, because then you can discuss it and talk about it. And it, even though I've read it or listened to it on my own, talking with the group is, I don't know, I grow a lot more, and you I don't know, hear things that maybe you didn't pick up on before.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Laura and I have been talking and sharing with each other for almost 2 years. And I know that part of Laura's path has been overcoming depression. And I wasn't sure if she wanted to talk about it or not, but I know there's a lot of people that do struggle with it. So she said she would be willing to address that and talk about her depression with us tonight on the interview. So go ahead.
So so it's interesting, with depression, and mine is more of a chemical, not situational. And so I just don't have enough dopamine receptors, or my body doesn't absorb dopamine enough. And so I was using sugar, and sugar felt good, it made me feel good. And so when things got overwhelming, or I used it for everything, when I was tired, when I was depressed, when, like, whatever. And um, then I learned from Susan that, there's other ways to increase your dopamine. Not, you don't have to do it through sugar. And so then I increased, even, like, I started meditation, which has been really good to, like, just get the breathing back, relax, get back into the self. Because sometimes, like with depression, you've got other thoughts going on, and other negative energy, where you just got to get back to the center. Um, and then, but also, I mean, I'm still taking my, I really thought that if I kept this program and did it all amazingly, that I would be able to go off my medication, and that's not true. Um, so I have stayed on medication, but I have, started doing the exercises, which increases the dopamine, the meditation, and scrapbooking gives me dopamine because it makes me feel good, and to accomplish something. So there's a lot of things. Music. I think one of my most important things is the sun, which I haven't seen for a while. So I'm super excited. We get a little glimpse of that, but we haven't seen a lot of it. But my body needs sun. So my husband bought me this mood light for Christmas, and that helped. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things, of eating right, medication, exercise, positive thinking. There's a lot of things that in the spiritual part, of course, staying close to the Savior. And when you have a challenge, I feel gratitude for, gosh, I don't know, I'm emotional, but, well, the depression has been really, really hard. But because of that, I've stayed close to the Savior, and I've always needed him. And so that has been, I don't know, that journey has been a gift, to be able to have that need for the Savior through depression. But you can't just pray it away. I have to do a lot of things to keep my body and mind healthy.
Thank you. Thanks for that. I appreciate you being vulnerable and opening up about that. Laura and I started studying together. It'll be 2 years in September. So it's a year and 3/4. And I don't remember how it started, but I found an article out of the Liahona, only it was the enzyme, and it was entitled Healing. And I sent it to Laura, and she gets you did not mention this, but a dopamine hit for you is a favorite talk or something you've read or listened to, and you send me the link because you just can't wait to share your next aha. So we started studying just from that article, and we said, what does healing mean? And we tried to find every talk we could find on healing, and we found books on healing. I have some of the books are here. This is one that we just did, Whole in Christ. But we went through the Book of Mormon together, and we went on Deseret Book and found books on Christ and how to be healed through Christ. And so I've watched, I want Laura to talk about this. Now I'm going to cry, because I watched Laura over a whole year's period of time. How do I say this? Overcome the perfectionist part of doing things perfect and doing things right. And I just saw this beautiful spiritual softening. You're already soft and beautiful, but I you had a very strong part in you that needed to do this program perfectly and do your life perfectly. And so I wanted you to talk a little bit about just the spiritual part of your
your surrender, this process of surrender that I can see that's happened with you over this last year and a half?
This has been a really special part of the program, doing this spiritual part. It's I have an identity of being a child of God and a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints before my identity as a bright life eater. I mean, that's like my foundation. And so I think it has been a journey to know Christ. I think that's really what it's been, is to find that he loves me no matter my weaknesses, whether I'm perfect or whether or not, and he doesn't expect me to be perfect. It's not a requirement for him to love me. And if I was perfect and didn't need him, there'd be no purpose for the atonement. I mean, so he knew we were going to make mistakes. He knew we weren't going to be perfect, but I love him so much, and I have developed a friendship more with him, and I think there's different parts of healing. I think in my mind, healing was going to be, oh, we're going to take this all away. I'm never going to have another food thought, and I get to go back to not my food because I'm going to be like everybody else. And that was my mind in healing. That wasn't the healing that happened. The healing, wow, the healing is in our heart, and just knowing that he loves me and that he's here to help me, to support me in this journey. And he wants to be on the journey too. I think he wants to be there right with me. He wants to be, right there, helping me make those decisions and strengthening me. And so I learned what healing really was.
Yeah.
So
thank you for your testimony. Let's lighten it up a bit, okay? Let's talk about community and friendships and relationships, and talk to us a little bit about the connections that you have with groups and people and mastermind groups and the things that connect you to others. Because before you guys came on, Laura and I came on earlier, and Laura said, this is an introvert's worst nightmare to be interviewed and recorded. So I drug her on because I wanted you guys to see how special she is and how wonderful her recovery is. But talk to us a little bit about those connections and community, because I know isolation is a part of it for a lot of us. So
yeah, it's funny. There was a couple weeks ago, there was a young woman that got up to give a talk in church, and she said, every introvert needs to find a great extrovert. she goes, it's awesome. Okay, so I really fought the community thing because, again, I wanted to come across as I got it all together. I don't need anybody's help. I'd love to help other people, but I don't need anything. I really had a hard time being vulnerable and allowing people to see my weaknesses and to rely on them and to trust them with information that I had protected for so long. I didn't want to get hurt. And nobody knew about my addiction to food. I didn't share those things. I didn't share the replacing food in the cupboard. That was my little secret. But around other people, I ate really great. I came across as really good. So it took me, and it's funny. I mean, Wendy can attest to this. Like she would ask me questions, and I would come up, oh yeah, everything's great. Or I say something, and she goes, wait, what do you mean? Go into that deeper. And I'm like, I don't do that. I don't share. So I have learned the power and the joy of a community. I have the most amazing group of people, the Bright Boss Babes, and they are so patient with me. They won't see me for a week or something. I'm this introvert, and I get all, I don't know. It takes a lot for me to get on Marco Polo and all that. But I'm learning to trust them. And I love, they're teaching me to be vulnerable, and I love them. I'm constantly learning for them, and they love me for the introvert that I am. They love me when I come on. It's okay. And sometimes they'll say, hey, we've missed Lora, and I'm always listening. So there's this unconditional love that's just so powerful, and it's taught me so much. And then I have two really amazing mastermind groups. One group is not members of the church, and we have a different connection with them. It's wonderful. And then I have mine that are members of the church, and that brings in a different part of Brightline Eating. So they're just very different, but I love both of them. So being able to rely on people and have them being able to trust them has been something huge, a huge growth for me. It's okay to have weaknesses and to struggle, because they're here for me and we're here for each other, and there's going to be ups and downs with all of us.
Yeah, and I would say I probably wouldn't even be here except for the relationships have kept me when I wanted to walk. You sent a birthday card to me a year ago, and you wrote in there, you said something like, I don't want to ever give up the addiction, because then I would lose all these relationships. Stacy even put that on a comment in our Brightest Eaters Facebook group today. And that's so bizarre to me, because I'm like, wouldn't I want the Savior to just take this away? But then I would lose all of you. And so it's a conundrum.
I know, they're like my best friends. I'm like, I can't, this is it, and my 16-year-old, he's always like, are you going to talk to your sisters? That's what he calls your sisters. I go, yes, those are my sisters.
It's
so
a big part of the healing. It is a big part of the healing.
It is part of it. And I 100% know that if I didn't have a community, I wouldn't have stayed in Brightline Eating.
Yeah.
There's no way my negotiator would have came out and said, yeah, this isn't for you. This is too hard. You can't do this, or whatever. So
I know, I appreciate that SPT created a program where she encourages us to find our mastermind groups and find our gaming games team. She knows that this will be successful when we connect with other people instead of just relying on her. She knows that we need each other. And I think that that's brilliant.
And that was a new thing for me, for someone in one of my groups, like to say something. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one that has ever thought that or has done that. Right. And so instead of having to hide everything, it just felt freeing to be able to talk to people, and they understood where I was coming from. It right. wasn't like, because I don't know if any of you guys have done this, but I've gone up to a friend and told them something, and they look at you and they're like, yeah, like, like you're, yeah. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So I stick with my BLE sisters.
Sounds good.
That.
Talk to us a little bit about maintenance then, what this has been like for you in reaching maintenance.
So I was like a crystal vaser, and then I lost my 80 pounds, but oh man, I thought I had an ideal, like this French formula was just in my head, and I wanted to be a certain weight. And I somehow in my head, I felt like that was being thin, is to be that weight. And so even when I went to those, what are those called when you go, they check your weight or your
DEXA scan?
Yeah, DEXA scan. I went to two of those, and one of them said I need to gain 3 pounds, and the other one said, no, you don't want to lose more weight. And I said, I don't even know what they're talking about. Like
you just dismissed it. Yeah.
Yeah. What are they now? And so I could not say I was ever had reached my goal weight ever, because I had in my mind, I was not successful until I had hit that certain goal. And Susan, I think, had a vlog on that or something. It just totally hit home to me. That is so true. And to be grateful for the progress. But for me, it was like, I need to hit this certain amount, and I will not. Like, I failed unless I get to that certain weight, even though that weight wouldn't have been healthy for me. So maintenance. So what happened was, so I got to my goal weight, and then I remember Colleen was there, and we're sitting in this group, and she said, look, it looks like you need to add food now. You're at maintenance, and looks like you need to gain 3 pounds and stuff. And I started to cry, and she goes, we need to add food. And I said, oh no, we can't add food. We can't add food, because I was so terrified of getting that weight back. And she said to me, I cried too when I added food. And so that really helped me. So she told me to add she said, well, let's just start with vegetables for this unstable gal here. So we'll just give her a few more vegetables. And then I stayed on that and I got hungry. And so I did not add food. And that was my biggest mistake. I didn't have a guide or anybody, of course, right, because I can do everything on my own. And then what I would do is I would eat food that was bright line eating, but I would eat a little bit more and not weigh it. Or somehow if I would eat an apple before my meal, it didn't count, but then I would weigh the apple when I was going to eat it. It didn't make any sense. So because I didn't add the food, I was hungry. And so that got me off my program. So I think it's important to listen to our bodies and also, our bodies are going to pick the weight that's healthy for us. And so we can't just pick a weight. I mean, we could, but we'll be hungry or we won't be healthy or whatever.
It's a head trip too. It makes you crazy if you're just
yeah. And
yeah.
the other thing is that the whole thing is to have food neutrality, right? And to have this clear mind. But if you're hungry, you're always thinking about food. You've kind of done, you're back in this same boat where the food's always on your mind. So so anyway, so I had to add some food and it's been really good.
All right. So let's kind of wrap it up here with some of your non-scale victories and your scale victories. Share with us some of the fun things in your life that have happened as a result of losing all your weight.
Well, I went on that same hike and was front of the line.
Nice.
So that was awesome. That was, I just was so full of gratitude thinking, oh my gosh, so great. Another one was, I just got my driver's license renewed. So I sort of may have put 30 pounds lighter than I really was on the last driver's license thing. So, but this time I was able to put my weight and feel good about it. And I don't know, that just felt really good. I wanted to tell the lady, did you see my weight? It's so great. I'm honest with it, And then the other was when I was with Charlie, my little 3-year-old, and she wanted me to go into her little princess tent. And I was able to crawl in that princess tent and sit for a half an hour, whatever. And I sat, cross-legged and colored and did all these things and played with her. And I never would have been able to get in there and I may have been able to crawl in there, but I wouldn't be able to sit, or I would have, I could put my head in maybe, but so that was like, and you just get these little feelings of gratitude for our bodies and what it can do now. So
awesome. So if somebody were new or struggling with keeping their lines bright, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would be, just trust the plan, just stick with the plan. I can't tell you how many times I worked really hard that week. And then I'm like, I thought I should lose like 5 pounds. I worked so darn hard. And then, I gained 0.5 pounds. I'm like, oh my gosh, but the body does what it does. It moves around. It will, we don't have control over the number on the scale. We just have control over what we eat. And so just trust that, that plan and really surrender. There's a big difference between being 99% and 100%. So that 1% are those things that I thought, well, I can still do this and do the program, and so to be able to give those things up and truly surrender to the program is really powerful, not to fight all that.
Thank you for sharing that. So I know you shared with me what your why is, and it's different than what I've heard other people because it has a spiritual foundation to it. Would you share with us what your why you're doing Bright Line Eating?
Yeah, it goes back to my Heavenly Father and wanting my spirit to be in control of the body. I didn't want my body to control me. I wanted this vibrant spirit to be able to overcome the body I think that's part of the reason why we're here is to overcome the natural man. And so I just wanted to come back to him when I died and say, you know what, my spirit was in control. That I just really want my spirit to be vibrant, and I wanted to be able to use that energy to serve the Lord, and not always, because I think, you know, with the food addiction, it's so in a way like selfish, because I'm like, I was always thinking of myself. Where's the next food? What? Oh, I don't look good. You know, I don't know. It's all about me, and I wanted to be about other people, about you know, doing the things that the Lord wanted me to do, and not so focused on myself and my weight and my thoughts. And so there's a great power in the spirit, um, being in control of the body, and doing
So,
what's best for the body.
so Laura, would you say that you can totally, I didn't mean to put that on there, but that you can accept that you are experiencing your transformation? I think looking at your slideshow and sending me your pictures and everything, that you got to see kind of the bigger picture, or sometimes we get caught just in the moment, or the 5 pounds. Do you feel like you've experienced your transformation?
Oh, that so when I'd lost all the weight, I would not consider I had a transformation, because I was still in diet mentality. I'd lost the weight, and then didn't know what to do. Now, we always say we don't have a weight problem, we have a brain problem. So
Wait, did you say we say that? Because I'm the one that always says that to you.
now I say it. Now I say I have a mental issue. But now I feel like the weight, and there's this mental shift of gratitude, and grateful for my body, and not so stuck on a number on the scale, but like just feeling so free, with the food thoughts and all that, that I can ask, you know, my prayers, Holy Father, who do you need me to help today? Who needs to feel your love today? Instead of, oh, I don't want to go to this because I'm not going to look good, or, you know, or whatever it is. So the transformation is to me 2 parts, the physical and then the mental
And spiritual. Thank
and
you.
spiritual.
All right. I only see a few of you on here. I mean, there's a bunch of you, but I don't see any faces. So does anybody that's on here have any questions that they would like to ask Laura? Let's see if anybody unmutes. A lot of you know Laura very well. Oh, all these little faces are popping back on. How cute.
I want to ask Laura a question.
Go for it.
So, what do you do now that you just love to do that has absolutely nothing to do with food? What is your favorite thing to do?
What do I like to do? I finally like to bike ride. So that's a good thing. So before, I fought my husband on it all the time. I'm like, oh, 'cause, you know, those just aren't flattering, the biker pants, you know, and then when you're like hitting your stomach, you're like, this just isn't even fun or flattering, you know? So I would say that, that's been really fun to do.
Thanks, Kelly. Anybody else have a question for Laura? I'm looking around to see if anyone unmutes. Hey, I have a question for Laura. Laura, when I very, very first met you, you were collecting recipes, and you had this big, huge notebook full of recipes. But Laura always sends me her food, and there's no recipes in there. So I would always say, why do you talk about your recipe book? You don't even use them. So where is that recipe book? You haven't talked about it for a while.
So I think it was that collecting recipes was doing something like towards the program. But I don't want to cook. I don't want to make all those. And they weren't, it's so funny because she'd say, well, what recipes have you made in your book? And I'm like, I think I made one, you know, but it's a book full of recipes. And I didn't buy any books. I just would get them off. People would post recipes, or I'd look online or something. So I love my simple food, just simple. It makes me happy. So I don't I don't know, after I used to do recipes a little bit, but now I just enjoy my vegetables and just basic vegetables and a protein and a fat and a fruit. It doesn't have to be fancy for me. I just enjoy it. And I also have another issue that I now don't know how to share, because once something's weighed and one of my kids or my husband takes one out, I become like very angry. Don't touch that bean was weighed. Okay, get your own beans. Go eat your not my food. These are my,
I
So
love it. And I didn't even know there was a laughing emoji, but Shauna's got a laughing emoji going on right now. It's too funny. I've never seen that before. Suzanne, you've got your hand up. You have a question for Lora? Go ahead and unmute. Oh, you did unmute. We can't hear you though. Yeah. I can see you're not muted, but we can't hear you. Sorry. Sorry about that.
you could just write it on a piece of paper.
I know.
Careless.
Sorry. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much, Lora. I would never know that you were an introvert from the sweet way that you just shared your life with us tonight. Thank you. And
Well,
thank you.
now I probably won't be able to speak to anybody for an entire week. I'll be all socially drained.
So what we're going to do is we're thanking Lora and all of you for being here, and I'm going to stop the recording. And I know for me, sometimes when you do something like this, we all need to just talk for a minute. So anybody that wants to stay and just talk to Lora and not be on the recording. So thank you all for being here. Don't go away. I'm just going to stop the recording. It's been a wonderful interview. Thank you, Lora.